wanted to chat a little bit about why a campground could be the best choice for accommodation for you and your family as you hit the road and enjoy our national parks this summer. Come along with me. The first reason why campgrounds are such an alluring option for families as they are traveling in and around the national parks of the United States is cost, right? Oftentimes, if you are going to be in a tent, that's going to be a lot cheaper than staying in a hotel room. Or even if you want to choose a cabin, sometimes these cabins at these campgrounds can be a lot cheaper than an Airbnb or a VRBO at some of these places, especially if you're only going for a few nights. Remember, those cleaning fees attached to the home rental services can really up that base price of how much that's going to cost you. So certainly choosing a campground, whether you're going to be in a tent, whether you're going to be in an RV, a motorhome, or even a cabin, the campground can be a huge cost savings for you and your family. The second reason that it may be a fantastic choice for your family to stay at a campground is the relative bookability of campgrounds, private campgrounds specifically. When you're looking at national park travel, oftentimes people have made their reservations very long in advance. And sometimes when you're looking at a place like Yellowstone, those campgrounds can book up 13 months in advance. Or if you're trying to go to a campground inside of a park in Alaska, some of those are even on lottery. So the bookability is actually much easier at the private campgrounds. Additionally, some of them will book several years in advance. So for example, those of you that know that you might want to go to Glacier National Park and stay at the West Glacier KOA, you can actually book that 18 months or even 2 years at least in advance. I think that we've done it. So that's a fantastic option for those that want to book even further in advance than national park campgrounds would allow you or hotels would allow you. But also if you are on shorter notice, often the campgrounds will have some sort of flexibility, some sort of cancellations, and be able to scoot you right on into some sort of accommodation that they have available to you. The other great thing about campgrounds, and I had no idea because I didn't grow up going to private campgrounds, staying at these private campgrounds, but these campgrounds actually have quite a diversity of accommodations, especially these days. They're seeing their market grow and they're figuring out how to respond to the needs of current family travelers, especially as there's a lot more multi-generational traveling going on. So the private campgrounds are actually creating more and more diversity of accommodations. For example, certainly they will have tent camping options. They will have RV camping options. They will have hybrid options sometimes where you can have a tent and an RV at a single site. They'll have group camping options. Many of them will have cabins. They'll have different types of cabins. They'll have cabins where you can stay with your whole family and grandma and grandpa. And they'll have cabins where it's just a camper cabin and you bring everything. All they have is the plastic mattress on the wood frame and you bring everything else that you're going to need. So they have all of this breadth of opportunity in terms of their accommodations. Some of them I've even noticed have sort of lodges built in. So you can have almost like a hotel type experience with your room, but still enjoy the amenities of the campground as well. So the diversity of accommodations means that you can find a campground that you love, and even though one year you may be able to show up with your RV, another year you'll have less time perhaps and you'll need a quick stay, maybe at a cabin or in a lodge room, you can go back to the same place that you know and that you love, and that has all of the amenities that are important to you and your family. The fourth reason that staying at a campground can be fantastic for a family is saving money on food. And really, when it comes down to it, it's not just saving money on food. You can actually save time also due to the food issue. So oftentimes, if we go and we travel and we're staying at a hotel, we're not allowed to bring cooking supplies into that hotel. So if we don't want to go out to breakfast, we may be stuck having a nutrition bar for breakfast and whatever coffee that they have with the coffee maker in the room. But if you stay at a campground, you can bring all of your cooking equipment with you. You can make your own food, make the things that you like to eat, save the money from having to go out, and save the time from having to sit at the restaurant or to go in and stand in a long line to order your morning coffee. So really you can save time, you can save money, and then also pertaining to food, some people that are very picky or that have specific nutritional needs can get a lot of benefit out of staying somewhere where they have more managerial control over their food throughout the duration of their trip. So that is a huge reason why my family loves to stay at campgrounds. We can be picky. Some of us have nutritional needs that we need to be mindful of, and we just don't like to spend a third to half of our day looking for food, trying to agree on a place to eat, trying to look up reviews of places we're not familiar with, and then sitting there and waiting for people to wait on us. We do like to go out for probably one sit-down meal a day, though, if given the opportunity. I suggest that. The next reason why it's so fantastic for families to stay at campgrounds is the downtime. When you are a family that has people of varying ages, oftentimes there will be somebody, at least in your party, that needs some sort of downtime. Whether that is 6 o'clock in the evening, maybe you've already eaten dinner, you want to go back to the campground. Some people still have energy to burn off. Some people need to rest. Some people see the experience of vacation as sitting down with a book or sitting around a campfire and doing something restful. That can be very important time for some of the people in your party. Whereas if you had to go back to a hotel room, sometimes that cannot feel so restful, especially when everybody is in the same space and there are still some people that need the downtime and some people that just definitely are not down for downtime. Connected to this idea of downtime is, of course, the fun and the amenities that these campgrounds have, especially when it comes to kids. In our experience, my husband and I might get tired at the end of the day. We want to rest, sit outside. Hopefully it's beautiful weather. We can read a book. We can have a glass of our favorite beverage. Whether I'm cooking, whether we are at a campfire, whatever it is, we like that evening time to be restful. But sometimes our kids are not of the same mindset. What's fantastic about a campground is they are often jam-packed with amenities and activities, things for the kids to do, whether it's as simple as a pool, whether it is gem mining, whether it is a movie under the stars, whether it's a storyteller or a community fire, or there are crafts and there are ice cream shops at different places that we have been. There are water slides at some of the campgrounds where we have stayed. There are so many different things for kids to do. And then even aside from all of the fantastic amenities that private campgrounds have learned to incorporate in their offerings, comes our last and maybe most important and heartwarming reason to stay at a private campground with your family, and that's the sense of community that you get. These days, our family lives in a more transient community where it's not people that have been here long and often not people that stay here long. And more of us are finding ourselves in communities like that. So we don't get to know our neighbors to the depth that perhaps generations prior had the opportunity to know. Our communities are often based on our religious communities that we may be a part of, or our school communities, our children's school, or the people that we might know from work. But our neighborhoods are not as often that sense of community in the way they once were generations before. And some people, that's not the experience, and that's fantastic to have deep roots in the community. However, for those of us that either don't have that at home or we love it so much that we want it everywhere we go, campgrounds are phenomenal. The kids are there to meet people, to befriend people, to develop these relationships, to run and run outside and find the fun. And the fun is 90% that connection that they find to each other. The adults are often cheerful and friendly. We say hi, we chat a little bit, we'll stop by a campfire, we'll find a connection between a similar RV or a similar tent or a college football shirt that somebody might be wearing, or maybe a bumper sticker on a vehicle. There are connections that we find, and we strike up conversation in such a casual, relaxed way because we're all on vacation. So the community is fantastic. And other examples of that would be, there was a time at Fort Wilderness one year where the kids just went in circles around the loop that we were camping in on their bikes or on their scooters. And my daughter very quickly met a little girl that lives in Florida and then spent the next several years sending her letters back and forth. They had instant connection. She never wanted to leave the campground. She didn't even want to go into Disney World because she had met a great friend. She wanted to spend all of her time just playing with the friend. That connection was so important to her. Another time we were visiting Arches National Park, and she met a friend at a private campground in Moab, and she had the best time with that friend, even before the pool opened, even before there was a lot to do during normal campground activities there. It didn't matter because she had found a friend. One time, this is one of my favorite memories, when we went to Glacier National Park, we pulled up at the West Glacier KOA, and we had gone through real tough times on our drive to get there. But we pull into our site. The second we pull in to our site, our kids open the door, they get out, and their feet hit the ground, and there's a little boy that is probably between the ages of my son and daughter that immediately walks up to my son and says, "Hi, I'm Brian, and I'm your new best friend." Brian was at the site right next to us with his family. And indeed, Brian made it his priority for the rest of his time at the campground to become best friends with my kids. So they biked and scooted and ran all around the campground and enjoyed all of the fantastic amenities, and they had a fantastic time. But I have story after story like this because campgrounds foster such a fantastic sense of community. My only regret when it comes to the times that we have spent at private campgrounds were that I didn't know about it sooner. I would have loved to have gone to private campgrounds from the time I had kids so that they would have had extra years at the private campgrounds. However, we didn't even know about all of the phenomenal benefits of taking our kids and spending the time and using that as an accommodation until they were a little bit older. So these are reasons why I'm going to suggest to you that private campgrounds may be a phenomenal way to spend your family time when you go and you visit our national parks this summer or anytime you're in the area, because the kids will find friends, you will find peace, and you'll stay in some of the most beautiful places that our country has to offer. So I hope that you will come over to NPS Family Travel and that you will join the forums. I hope that you will like and that you will subscribe, because I'm trying to give you all the tips and tricks that I wish that I knew when we started out on our huge NPS tour of the nation. Have a great day. I hope to see you soon. Thanks for joining.